All right, welcome back for another episode of Two Plane Sports. As we promised, this is going to be a recruiting episode. As you can tell, Brandon's sign behind him, Lebbeus Overton. I feel like that's a topic of conversation today.
You think so?
We're
Why?
gonna, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to talk about it here in just a bit. We're gonna provide an update on Richard Young and Dylan Edwards, and it's just three main guys today that we're going to talk about. We'll have another episode coming out later this week where we're going to talk about more, but we felt as though we could talk about these three kids for a whole episode. But before we get into it, just want to say we really appreciate it. We're getting close to 3,600 subscribers. Help us get us there. It's free to you guys. It helps us out a whole lot. It grows our channel. It gets more people, like-minded people, and even some trolls in here. I mean, that like to come in and our Texas fans or USC fans. It's always fun to have them come in. But just hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment, let us know what you think about Lebbeus Overton, Richard Young, or Dylan Edwards. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Everything's at Two Plane Sports. Um, so we'll get into it. Lebbeus Overton came out today. There's a report coming out that he is locked in his last two visits, one being Ohio State, and the very, very last one on April 23rd is the University of Oklahoma. For anyone that doesn't know, Lebbeus Overton is a 6'5", 265-pound defensive lineman out of Alpharetta, Georgia. He was once part of the 2023 class, has since reclassified to 2022. He's a 5-star, number 18 overall, number 5 defensive lineman in that class. He locked in his first three visits were Oregon, Georgia, and Texas A&M. Ohio State is the fourth, and Oklahoma is the fifth. And it just so happens to be that Oklahoma announced their spring game. Was he waiting for that? Maybe. So, Brandon, I have to give you the floor. We were talking a little bit before. I know some people have commented in our videos that Brandon is kind of a glass half empty kind of guy about a lot of these recruits. And would you like to change your tune or change anything about your thoughts of Lebbeus Overton?
Okay,
The floor is
here's the deal.
yours.
Here's the deal. A couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I don't know how long ago, on the show, we were going down, breaking down percentages. Jose had it 2020 2020. I was the most heavy A&M lean. I think I put it 75-25 and didn't give the other schools any chance. And I think, Brum, you still had A&M as the lead dog in this race.
Oh, I did, but I didn't
Hold on.
think it was
Yeah.
that far.
Here's the deal. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm changing my stance here. But as we talked about off show, and I'll die on this hill, if he actually makes it to Norman, if he makes it to his visit on the 23rd, he will be a Sooner. You can take it to the bank. You can pull a Calvin Ridley, do whatever you want to do. Bet $1 million on it. If he makes it to Norman on April 23rd, and he's there for the spring game with Baker Mayfield, and the crowd's gonna be crazy, and it's just gonna be a great atmosphere. It's gonna be a good time. If he and his brother make it to Norman on April 23rd, he will be a Sooner. And if he's not a Sooner and he makes it to Norman on the 23rd, I don't know. You guys name it, I'll do it on the show. Some stupid bet, because I'm that confident. If he makes it to Norman on the 23rd, he will be a Sooner. And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm changing my stance, because I think when he visits College Station, A&M is going to pull out every single stop they have possible, because they have to be thinking the same thing with Oklahoma as the last visit. If he makes it to Norman, they're going to be very, very nervous about the possibility of getting him to commit. They're going to try to pull out all the stops to get him to commit right after his visit. A couple days after he visits College Station, they're going to try to get him to hard commit, verbal commit, cancel his upcoming visits. It's still Texas A&M versus Oklahoma, but if he makes it to Norman, he will be a Sooner. Take it to the bank.
So you changed your tune, is what you're saying.
Did I though? I don't know if you can count it as changing your tune, because what if he commits 2 days after his A&M visit?
This really sounds like a classic Skip Bayless, Colin Coward hedging the bet situation, where you're not making a stance. You're just deciding, well, now that I could potentially be wrong, I gotta go the other way. But I mean, I just feel vindicated by the idea that it is even, but for every school, and maybe I'm being I don't know, maybe I'm being foolish by thinking so. I just feel like he's gonna visit every school. I still believe that, and I do think that Oklahoma and A&M have the best chance. It just depends on one, how big of importance is he putting on playing with his brother, and two, if that doesn't matter to him, then what does matter? We've seen some parents there. I saw a quote from one of the 5-star defensive linemen from the 2023 class. His dad said, it's not about the best fit or what school you like the most, but what school is willing to put up the most money. NIL exclamation point. I don't think that's the same for everyone, like I've said multiple times, but if money is of importance for Lebbeus, then Oklahoma needs to pull out all the stops to show him how NIL can benefit him there. But then Brandon does have a point. A&M is going to have a lot more money to back them up with their boosters. I just feel like that's not what the situation is here. I still think Oregon does have a pretty good chance because of the relationship that Lanning has with him and the family, but we'll see. I mean, I think he picked the right time to visit OU. I'm glad we're the last visit, and the fact that it's for the spring game, it's going to be super fun for him. He's going to see what it's like to be a player at Oklahoma because that stadium is going to be packed, and he'll get to probably meet Baker Mayfield for the Heisman statue presentation. So it's going to be cool.
So I have a question for you, Brandon. And this, I'm not being biased, but at the end of the day, why wouldn't he take all 5 visits? Do you really think that A&M is going to be like, well, if you don't commit by now, we're pulling your scholarship, we're pulling this NIL money? Do you really think a kid of his class and his ability?
I don't.
Wait, like I don't understand why. Why wouldn't he would take
all 5? You know, I mean, why not? I guess it's a fair question, but I feel like it happens all the time. What you're trying to do if you're Texas A&M is give him every reason to just cancel all the upcoming visits, blow him away, whether it be NIL deal, whether it be the what you can offer him on the field, the coaches, whatever it might be. If you're Texas A&M, your job is to blow him away and convince him not to take any other visits, because at the end of the day, if he does get to Norman, he's not leaving Norman. It's over. It is over if he makes it to Norman. And they know that too, I think. I really have a feeling they know that.
Well,
so you're just going to try to end it.
They might give him an incredible deal, but as a good business man,
it happens all the time. How many kids have visits lined up?
But here's the deal.
They'll visit one school. They'll be like, "Oh, crap, that was it." Like you just know right away, this is it. I'm not leaving. And you commit and you cancel your other visits. It happens all the time. Well,
I understand, but this is a special scenario. There is no threat to his scholarship spot at all at any one of these schools.
He's
to cycle. If you're a 4-star, a school like Oklahoma or Texas A&M can be like, well, I got someone that's coming in to visit and your scholarship is here, but it's not guaranteed if someone jumps before. No one can jump in before Lebbeus Overton at this point. It's his if he wants it. That's what I'm getting at. This is a special scenario.
Right, it happens all the time with kids getting on campus somewhere, getting blown away, and they don't leave. And if you're Texas A&M, you better hope to God that's what you do. Because if he makes all of his rounds, it's over. He's not leaving campus. But I think A&M has some sort of advantage too, because we talk about the legacy factor that Oklahoma has, which still is cool. Like there's no doubt it's cool. If our dads, if we were, let's pretend for a second, let's put on our hypothetical boots and pretend that we're a 5-star athlete and every school in the country wants it. So we're down to our final 5, whatever. It is going to be cool to us when we get to campus and be like, yeah, our dad, like if our dad played there, be like, yeah, our dad played here. This is cool. This is neat. Like I can follow his footsteps. Who doesn't want to be like their dad, I guess, and we all do. But I kind of consider him for his whole life, his real upbringing is not in Norman. It's not with the Sooners. His dad spent 11 or 12 years as the, associate AD or whatever at Texas A&M. I guarantee you he grew up going to Aggie games more than he did any Sooner games. He was at Kyle Field more than he was at Owen Field. He was in College Station more than he was in Norman. A&M has almost, to me, they're almost more of the legacy factor because he probably grew up going to Texas A&M games. And there's a chance, I think, when he gets to College Station, it all comes flooding back. Like, oh my God, I've been going to these games since I was, 5 or whatever. Now I get to play here. And there's a chance to me that he commits 2 days after his visit, doesn't make it to Norman. That is my biggest fear. But if he does hold off and does make it to Norman, again, it's over.
I mean, I think you make a fair point. I never thought about it that way. Like he's more so a legacy of A&M than he is Oklahoma. I think that's a good way to put it. But going off Brum's point, not only is it a unique situation for him that no one's going to jump him because he's pretty much the last person that can commit in the 22 class in regards to high school recruits. On the other hand, he also, once he makes a commitment, he's got to sign the letter of intent, and he can't back off of it. If he were still in 2023, part of that class, I would agree with you. Then these A&M is trying to make it so that he doesn't leave their campus without a commitment from him. But the fact that he needs to be committed by the end of April makes it so that he has to make visits, or it was a waste of time. Because if he's so heavy on one side, right? Like you and Brum suspect, why not just make A&M your first visit, confirm what he already believes, and commit on the spot? Like it seems like he does want to see what all these schools are. I mean, Oregon and Oklahoma just had big changes to their coaching staffs. It's going to be new for him during those visits, and he needs to have a decision by the end of April. So I feel like he's taking his time and is going to be doing what he can to make the best business decision, best fit decision on what's best fit for him or best fit for him and his brother, whatever it is. I think that after he visits Norman, he will have a decision shortly after, probably a couple days, because he'll need to be ready once high school is over for him and he can get to whatever city he's going to.
Yeah. So, whether I believe he'll go through all 5. Brandon, what's your gut telling you? Do you think he goes to all 5 visits? Does he go through with all of them? Right as we stand right now, we're recording this Tuesday, March 8th at 9:00. What do you feel?
I don't know. See, it is a stressful situation to me because I'm putting myself in his shoes as best I can. I've never been that wanted by 5 universities that are high level for football, but and I've never kind of been he is in a very unique situation, and I agree. But to use Hose's argument against him, I think it's even more. It's more imperative for A&M because he does have to sign. It's not like he can commit and then decommit like kids do all the time. Like there's none of that. He's signing, so they're going to try even harder to get it done right then and there. I think the memories come back for him. I mean, how cool would it be to watch games at Kyle Field your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're standing on the field and they're recruiting the hell out of you, and they'd be like, "Hey man, you could start here, and you can do this and that." And
you're thinking about it from the school's perspective.
And from his too. I'm thinking about his too.
Well, you keep saying A&M needs, but you keep saying A&M.
Well, yeah.
A&M's motivation is to make sure that he signs that letter before he leaves.
I see you're saying that, but from his perspective, those memories they're going to become flooding back. The whole being College Station, his whole life's going to be coming back. It's going to be a cool, unique feeling for him. My gut feeling, it's so tough. Because if I say he makes all of his visits, you guys are going to jump down my back and say I changed my mind.
Because he's going to take all 5.
I don't know that. No one knows that because he could literally sign the day after he goes to A&M. And And to be honest, it wouldn't blow me away if he did that. I wouldn't be totally shocked. I wouldn't be shell shocked. I wouldn't be surprised like I was when Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. That was a holy shit moment, shock moment. If Lebbeus Overton signs a letter of intent 2 days after visiting A&M, no one here is going to be shocked. That being said, he's going to visit Oklahoma. He's going to be a Sooner. I'm changing my stance.
Jose,
God, classic Colin, Skip, name whatever person is easily hated in the national media. You just did exactly what we hate when they do it. Hedging your bet.
Yep. Jose, what's your gut feeling?
Things change. Things change.
Like, I think he's making all 5 visits, and I still believe every school has a chance for him. I genuinely believe that not only he reclassified and he pretty quickly made his decision on the 5 schools he's going to visit. He could have easily just said, Mom and Dad, we got to take a trip every single weekend from the moment March starts to the end of April so that I can see every school that I want to see. But he did. He has the 5 schools he wants, the 5 coaches he wants to play for. We can say that. And I think he's taking all of it in. And I agree with Brandon. And I never thought about it. When he goes to A&M, all those memories of him growing up are going to come back. And it's going to be cool for him. But at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like it's everything. From an outsider's perspective, it is going to be something that is going to affect his recruitment overall. But it happens with every kid, right? If they grew up lifelong ex-team fan, it's going to, some sort of image that they've always had in their heads is going to pop up. So I still think that it is very even for everyone. And these visits are going to start soon, and we're going to start seeing notes and news come out on what he felt about Oregon, what he felt about Ohio State, and A&M, OU, and whatever the 5th school is, because I can't remember it right now. But yeah, he's going to visit all 5, and then we'll learn what his commitment is.
I have obviously been advocating. I think he's going to visit all 5. And the fact that Georgia, Texas A&M, and Ohio State have all not offered Micaiah Overton to this point, I think is huge, because I think on these visits, I think Lebbeus is going to make it clear that they're a package deal. If you want him, you better offer his brother. And I don't think Texas A&M is going to have the room. I don't think Ohio State will have the room. And I don't think Georgia will have the room. Oklahoma and Oregon do. Also, even if Micaiah took a preferred walk-on to any one of those 3 schools, it's an uphill battle to play. It's even an uphill battle for Lebbeus himself. I think he's taken all 5. The fact that he locked in his official visit, I'm feeling a lot better with Oklahoma. I still think it's A&M and Oklahoma. I don't think, like Jose, I don't think it's all even. I think it's Texas A&M and Oklahoma are neck and neck at this point. I think the leg up is the fact that Ohio State and Oklahoma are the only 2 schools that are going to have him there for their spring game, and having Baker there and being the last visit, his last visit, I think Oklahoma can lock him. I just think the fact that he locked it in, there's a reason why he scheduled that to the last available time. There has to be. And I think he's going to take all 5 visits. I don't think there's any concern about him signing or not showing up to any one of these 5 schools. I think he's going to all 5. And I might be wrong. I'll eat crow if something crazy happens, but I'm going to go through with it. He's taking all 5. He's going to be a Sooner, and that is what it is. So
he's going to get to meet a lot of really cool people when he visits Ohio State and Oklahoma, since he's going to the spring games.
No one cool went to Ohio State ever in their history of their program.
I'm sure that I bet the Bosa brothers will be there to help out with some of the recruiting. And then we're going to have Baker. Who knows, maybe Kyler comes back to celebrate with him, and other Sooners that are in the NFL.
You think Lincoln Riley's going to come back for the Baker Mayfield Heisman?
I don't think they're going to
presentation or the statue reveal.
I don't think the air traffic control is going to let that plane anywhere near Norman.
God, if he came to Norman, you know how many security guards he would have to have, or how
He's
many,
gonna need Secret Service.
Yeah, like he would. I mean, oh man, if he would have a huge set of nuts if he decided to come back to Norman anytime in the near future, because he's not very well liked around these parts, I reckon.
Yeah. So we'll wrap up this Lebbeus Overton talk with our final predictions. I said Oklahoma. Brandon said Oklahoma, but he wasn't for sure about, him taking all 5 visits. But now he has changed his tune. He's taken all 5, and he will be a Sooner.
Oklahoma. I'm still, like I said,
it's changed in the last 20 minutes. It's changed.
No, it hasn't changed. I'm locking Oklahoma at this point.
Hedge.
I'm just not going to be shocked if he signs a letter of intent with Texas A&M 2 days after his visit.
So you're
Jose?
hedging. I think he'll go to Oklahoma, but because of Todd Bates. I think that dude is going to lock everything up and make sure he's going to be a Sooner.
Yep. All right. Well, that was a great discussion. I'm sure we're going to have another discussion or two on him.
As watches their show. He'd be like, damn, that kid in the blue knows what he's talking about. If I make it to Oklahoma, I'm going there.
Right. So anyway, so we'll move on to the next guy. Richard Young, 5'11", 200-pound running back at Lehigh Acres, Florida. 2023 5-star, number 18 overall, number 1 running back in the class. He ended up visiting this past weekend. Seemed like the visit went extremely well. I believe that they're going to set up an official visit, maybe even another unofficial visit in the near future. The fact that they're talking like that they want to come back on campus. I said in the video, whenever we talked about Richard Young coming, if you see him and his camp and his family wanting to make another visit to Oklahoma, I'm actually starting to think there's a legitimate shot at getting him. I'm not saying for sure, but he only gets 5 official visits. If he's already looking to lock in an official visit with Oklahoma, it has to mean something. And this is his first visit and only visit. And the fact that he's ready to come back for more, I really think Oklahoma has a good shot at him. Jose, what do you think about Richard Young and the Sooners' chances?
That guy looked yoked when he posted his the pictures in the uniform. But not only would I be excited about Richard Young being a Sooner, but that also means we get his uncle, who's got the coolest name of all time. And Brumbaugh knows it. It's slipping my mind, but I bet that dude's pretty cool.
Chop.
We'll get Chop Young, and Richard Young. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. Chop does have eligibility left. We could throw him in at the offensive tackle spot. Let him go out there and pancake some people on the field if he needs to. But I mean, I think it is good that he was so excited, and it seemed like he had a good time from the reports that had come out. And yeah, if he is planning on visiting again, it's good. I mean, we all had different takes on it, but I feel like the difference is Venables and the staff and the excitement that is around the program right now, not just from the fans, but from the players, the next players. We saw today Perrion tweeted about how he, when he talked to Brent, he wanted to suit up again, and Wood said the same thing, and Jeremiah Hall said the same thing. So it isn't like, it's not just fans being fans and being crazy about, how we're going to kick USC's ass and show that Lincoln Riley wasn't really a great head coach. He was just a good head coach and great offensive mind. Like, everyone is seeing this change and this energy around Oklahoma, other than the haters, clearly. But, I think that's something that is showing with all these kids visiting, and the parents are seeing it, the players are seeing it. So hopefully he visits soon. I would expect him to visit sometime in the middle of the summer. That's when they've got the most time, right?
It's very encouraging that he had a great visit with Oklahoma, and he's considering, an official visit coming back. Obviously very good. We talk on the show all the time, religiously, essentially, about how great of a recruiter Todd Bates is, and how, the Todd Bates effect is something that comes out of our mouths all the time, and for good reason, because he is that kind of guy, that kind of recruiter. His resume speaks for itself. what we kind of let slip and go under the radar is how good of a recruiter DeMarco Murray is, and how good he is with these kids that come on campus. And in our last recruiting video, I mentioned, and I'm pretty sure you guys echoed it. I can't remember for sure who you guys said, but I know I mentioned for sure that Richard Young was my favorite or my preferred. If I can get any one of the kids who was coming to campus last weekend, Richard Young would be the one. And for reasons as Brum mentioned, he's got great size, great speed. But the man had almost 1,800 yards last year rushing, 1,755 to be exact, 19 rushing touchdowns. But he did it while averaging 9 yards per carry, which to me is, I mean, that's my favorite stat for running back. Anytime that a guy is averaging almost a first down every time he touches the ball, it bodes well for your offense. It would be a huge get. Yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on him. I definitely hope that the Sooners are able to lock him up.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope we'll see an official announcement from him, via Twitter or something about him locking in an official visit, or maybe he'll take another unofficial in the summer, because I'd imagine OU will have something similar to what the Champ U barbecue was. I'm sure they'll have 1 or 2 of those big events this summertime. Hopefully they get him back on campus for that, and maybe a game this fall.
And Chop. We can't forget Chop.
And Chop. Can't forget Chop. If you could, Jose, you could always put a picture of DeMarco, Richard Young, and Chop right about in this area.
Yeah. If you guys don't know who Chop is, the video you guys will see him right now. It's the big man, and he's going to be an important part of this. I love him now, just because of his dope name. Yeah.
The problem with Richard Young is, and it's a problem with any high-level recruit, is the schools that we are competing against for him, as far as the schools that I think have legitimate opportunity to land him, would include us, Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson. So, he's got all, in my opinion, his Final Fours are going to be those 4 schools, and they're all big dogs. They're all the elite of the elite, the cream of the crop. But that's the territory when you're recruiting guys with his ability. I kind of almost feel as if Oklahoma and Clemson have the biggest. I kind of put them as my lead dogs, although Alabama can never be counted out. And my reasoning for it is DeMarco Murray, as I mentioned, is a very slept-on recruiter. I think he's very good. But Clemson has C.J. Spiller, I believe, as their running back coach, and that's another guy who played in the league, can relate to these kids at very well. I think Clemson will have a very good pitch too.
Yeah, that'll be something to watch. Like you said, being the number 1 running back, everyone's going to want you. So maybe we'll see Chop and Richard Young come back to campus here in the near future. We'll move on to another running back. I think we all kind of maybe jumped the gun on him just a bit, is Dylan Edwards. Because I remember sitting on the last video or 2 whenever we posted a recruiting update prior to last weekend. I think I said, and I think we all said, that we felt that Dylan Edwards would be the most likely kid to commit after this weekend. He was slated to visit the Sooners. For anyone that doesn't know, he's a 3-star running back out of Derby, Kansas. He's the Kansas Gatorade Player of the Year. He had 2,600 yards rushing, 38 touchdowns as a junior. Visited OU late January, earned a scholarship offer. 6 crystal balls came in quickly thereafter in favor of the Sooners, and it looked like he was coming back on campus. And then he tweeted that he was attending University of Arkansas's weekend this past weekend. So he canceled his trip to Norman and went out to Fayetteville. I know Sam Pittman, he's a great recruiter. It's an up and coming program. It just seemed like it was a little bit out of the blue. I believe Pittman is recruiting the quarterback from Kansas. I believe, I don't know if it's his teammate or someone that's really close to Edwards. They're recruiting the quarterback that he is good friends with, Edwards. So I don't know if that's having a pull. The quarterback is recruiting him. The name is slipping my memory. But I was a little shocked to see him cancel his visit, and I was really excited for him. Brandon, what do you have to say about Dylan Edwards and that development?
Yeah, it was a head scratcher for sure. And this one, as you mentioned, when he visited late January, Seemed like everything went well. They had a good time. Then the Cristobal's came flowing in. He's coming back, we thought, last weekend for an official visit. It kind of just felt like he's coming back to seal the deal. It's over. He's going to sign. He's going to become a Sooner. He's going to commit at least, whatever. The fact that he did change his mind and went to Arkansas instead of Oklahoma last weekend, I think obviously he doesn't bode well for Oklahoma, and it kind of feels like at this point we're going to lose him because Brent Venables kind of has that. I don't know. I just feel like he has that kind of approach. Like, all right, you don't want to come visit it. What I don't know. I feel like I would favor Arkansas at this point.
Crazy son. I don't think that's the case. I think if Arkansas is heavily recruiting the quarterback that Dylan's close with, maybe they just wanted to take the visit together. There's also a chance. I don't think Venables is how you just explained him. I actually think he's the complete opposite. It seems like he's more of a guy like, if you really like us, go adventure and see if there's other opportunities for you. And if you still haven't changed your mind, you've got your spot here. He does have a scholarship offer.
Jose,
2023 class.
When you were courting Carly, all right, and you really liked her. For anybody who does, obviously, and I don't think any of our listeners know. We haven't divulged into this. Carly is Jose's fiance. They're fantastic. When you were courting Carly and you liked her so much, and you were having a good time, did you say, "Go ahead and go to dinner with everybody else. Have fun. If you don't like them enough, come back"? Is that what happened? Is that how that?
That's not how it
developed?
went, but it's not the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's the same
not
game.
the same thing, and it also. I don't think that we're out on Dylan. I think he's visited OU once before. He got his scholarship. He seems to be close with Venables. Like Brum said, there was a ton of crystal balls that came in, and it's not like some of these insiders just throw it out there because the kid just visited somewhere. They must have some sort of information that says the guy's leaning that way. And if you look at Dylan's social media, he hasn't posted anything about being at Arkansas. That doesn't mean everything, but that is an indication. These kids post when they get offers from everyone. Posting when you visit is usually pretty normal at this point in the world that we live in. He hasn't posted anything about it. On the other hand, we have a spring game coming up. Who says he can't visit that? Not only will we have Lebbeus Overton, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other recruits visiting that weekend because it's going to be really fun. And he just has to drive down, quick drive, and he'll get to meet one of the best Sooners of all time. I think that the fact that Baker's going to be there is going to attract a lot of recruits just because they would like to meet him or be part of that environment.
I do got to say, I think you just made a bunch of great points. I think you made a bunch of great points. Maybe it is a little bit different than courting somebody in a dating relationship situation. Maybe dating is not the same thing as college football.
It's a little different, I would say.
But you never know. Yeah, those are good points.
Yeah. I mean, it's I do agree it's a little bit different. Maybe it isn't quite as much of a slam dunk as we initially thought. Like just a for sure, this is what's going to happen. He was going to be a Sooner. Yeah, I think he'll be back on campus. I mean, Derby, Kansas is not very far from Norman. It's not like a drive to Seattle or, a visit that way like Joseph Connerly Jr. has to make. But I mean, it just basically goes to show that OU's going to have to work a little harder to get him. But if they do end up losing out on him, the way that DeMarco Murray recruited in the 2022 class, the way he's got Richard Young at least intrigued and potentially coming back, OU's going to fill out a couple running back spots in this class. So I'm not overly concerned. I do think Dylan Edwards, OU still has the inside track, but it might not be quite as quick as we initially thought.
That's the last question I had for both you guys that I wanted to pose to both of you before we wrap up or finish whatever's coming next. Do you feel as if Richard Young being on campus last weekend and Dylan Edwards knew Richard Young was on campus last weekend had anything to do at all potentially with him deciding not to visit Oklahoma?
I think so. I think it had to do at least a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. who knows whose side decided? Maybe OU said, hey, we're gonna have someone else on. We'd like to focus on him this time around. We don't want to like short you on attention. Come back April 23rd. Who knows? Some other time. Or maybe he said, you know what? They're going to be hyper focusing on the highly recruited 5-star. I'll just go somewhere else for the weekend. It is just the start of this 2023 class, really. So we'll see him again.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's another big recruiting weekend coming up. I think it's Friday the 25th that weekend. So he might show up that weekend. I don't know. There might have been something that came up with Arkansas, and I don't know. It's something to watch, but I do think that had a little bit of maybe influence, that maybe he's like, maybe I should explore my options just in case if they get Richard Young and they bring in another running back, and then I don't want to compete with 3 other people when I can go play at a school like Arkansas. I don't know, just speculating, but I do agree that it might have had a little bit of an influence on him. Do you guys have any final thoughts? If not, Brandon, you want to give your end of video challenge?
Yeah, for sure. Let's throw it back for the end of video challenge. Let's go back to the first player we talked about, because I feel like this Lebbeus Overton saga on our show, at least we've had 3 or 4 episodes now, and they've all been a lot of fun. So I want to know where you guys have Lebbeus Overton going. Do you think, as I do, a little bit? I know there's a little bit. There has to be a little fear out there that he's gonna just love the A&M visit so much, and it'll be home. He's not leaving. He's done. Or do you think he does make all 5 visits? And if he does make all 5 visits, is he going to Oklahoma? Essentially, where's Lebbeus Overton going?
Yep. You heard him. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Jose, we all think actually that he's going to be at OU. You saw Brandon change his tune on live on this show. Everyone can see it. And he was hedging his bet, but Jose and I we're all picking OU. I mean, we might be wrong. He might end up as an Aggie. He might be a Georgia Bulldog. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to watch. If you made it this far, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, like the video, get us to 3,600 subscribers, please. It's free. It helps us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Spotify and Apple, all at 2Plane Sports. And we'll catch you later this week. We're going to have another recruiting video coming out. Thanks.